Hey, I'm Charles Best, founder of DonorsChoose.org, which is a website where public school teachers can post classroom project requests, and then donors can choose the classroom project that they want to support. If you have 2 minutes to spare, I wanted to let you know about this philanthropic experiment that my students have helped me launch. You got to keep your initial pitch to all of 5 seconds and actually give them an opportunity to say, this now isn't a convenient time. Don't be that salesman who gets a person on the phone and just goes off trying to get as much of the pitch out as possible before the person responds. That's not the way to do it. I think the best way to initiate contact can be through a simple email. What I always make sure I do is, within the first 2 sentences of the email, get out my objective. Lay out that I hope so much that you'd be willing to spare as little as 20 minutes of your time to hear about my efforts. The elephant in the room is the fact that you want money and they're going to be apprehensive about meeting with you if they think that you're going to be let down and dejected if they don't give you money. So that's a big reason for the target to not do a meeting with you. Reassure them that even if they are fully tapped philanthropically, you'd still love to meet with them and tap their wisdom. There are 2 ways that you can impress and flatter a potential investor. One is to ask questions, to be inquisitive. You can probably get somebody to yes more effectively by being curious and having follow-up questions about your target. So number 1 is going in, asking lots of questions and being really inquisitive. The second is to have done awesome research on that person. That's kind of the second form of flattery. If you can refer to where they grew up, some of their career accomplishments. Another thing that's really critical is just to exude enthusiasm. And of course, telling the story of your venture in the first person. So describing your venture as something that you built because you wanted to scratch a personal itch, or because you saw a particular problem when you were on the front lines doing something. I think if given the choice between providing a prospect, especially during the early stages, with a line item budget or with a more simple statement like, I need funding to build a well, I would go with the latter. A budget could anchor you low or high in the amount of money that the prospect is willing to give. The prospect might find a particularly sexy line item in your budget that only has $1,000 in it and jump to that as the price point at which they'll participate. I'm a little more of a fan of deciding on customized follow-up material during the course of the meeting and then sending that material, because of course just any act of follow-up impresses people, and if they feel like the materials you're giving them are not simply your standard collateral, but are materials that surfaced as important during the course of your conversation, they'll be much likelier to read those materials. There's nothing like the handwritten thank you note to stand out from the crowd, and as conversation goes online, you get to stand out all the more by sending a handwritten thank you note. So doing that as the follow-up and making sure that a handwritten note is what encloses any materials that you provide.